I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States.
the office of President of the United States.
Tonight, the United States of America has a new president, Donald Trump. After taking the oath, he addressed the nation, giving a speech that was notably shorter and darker than any inauguration in recent history.
This American carnage stops right here and stops right now.
And promising a new vision for the country.
We will follow two simple rules: buy American and hire American.
But as the new First Family waved to the crowds of supporters in Washington, D.C., across the nation, including here in Seattle, protesters made their voices heard. Now, a King 5 News Special, the inauguration of Donald Trump.
Good evening and welcome to King 5 special coverage of today's presidential inauguration. I'm Mark Wright.
I'm Lori Matsukawa. We're also joined by our co-anchor tonight, Joyce Taylor. She is live in our nation's capital and begins our coverage. Hey, Joyce.
Well, good evening once again from Washington, D.C. What a privilege to be here on such a historic day during a transfer of power so unique to our American democracy. Well, as you know by now, President Trump vowed big change, transferring power from politicians back to the people. And he kept to Washington traditions with his parade, and he seemed to bask in his inauguration today. For Donald Trump, validation. The businessman and TV star Republican taking over from the Democratic president he had just insulted. Trump triumphant. Hillary Clinton bearing up. Michelle Obama unsmiling. Earlier, the Obamas turned over the White House to the Trumps. Melania, the First Lady.
I, Donald John Trump,
Donald Trump, Commander-in-Chief.
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
As rain fell on his inaugural address, President Trump condemned the politicians around him and the Capitol he now leads.
Washington flourished, but the people did not share in its wealth. Politicians prospered, but the jobs left and the factories closed.
Not anymore, he vowed.
January 20th, 2017 will be remembered as the day the people became the rulers of this nation again.
Soon after, the president tweeted, vowing to stop now what he called American carnage, poverty, bad schools, drugs, crime, and economic decline. A dark view, refuted by Barack Obama before he left for vacation, crediting Americans for progress.
All the amazing things that happened over these last 10 years are really just a testament to you.
Today's crowd was smaller than Obama's, and the Trump parade was shorter, but joyous for the new president's supporters cheering the huge change in Washington. So what a day it was, and what a contrast on the streets between the crowds of protesters and the people here celebrating his inauguration. And now tonight, the balls are underway. Our political reporter Natalie Brand is here. You've been talking to lawmakers as well, and tonight you've been looking at the balls too.
Well, I've been looking at the video, but you were actually outside on the perimeter. So what did you see out there?
So we went to the convention center to try to talk with our GOP chair, Susan Hutchison, who was inside. She couldn't get back out through security. The lines were so long. Once she got into the balls, it was impossible for her to get back out. She was so disappointed. But we took pictures. The lines were ginormous, and people were dressed just to the nines, just stunning. And I noticed diversity in the crowd of people waiting to get in, but I think there were probably a couple thousand
Okay,
people waiting
so
to
I
get
do
in.
want to mention that among those at the balls tonight, some of our locals, I'm told State Senator Doug Erickson, Republican from Ferndale, who worked on Donald Trump's state campaign during campaign season in Washington State, is at one of the balls, I believe the Freedom Ball, and I think that's the one that goes for just $50, a pretty affordable ticket. So another note about State Senator Doug Erickson, he's actually now interested in potentially working for the Trump administration. He has submitted his resume and is interested in a job. We're talking about hundreds, thousands of jobs actually to fill a new administration. And so among those positions, we could see some Washington folks. I talked to him about that and listen to what he had to say.
There's a good possibility that you'll see people from Washington State either moving back here to Washington, D.C. to be part of the administration or working in the regional aspects back west. Senator Don Benton was a key component of the Trump campaign, both in Washington State and throughout the country. And so I think you can expect to see people like former Senator Benton playing key roles in the upcoming administration.
Have you applied for a role in the Trump administration?
I've sent my paperwork in. I haven't gotten a call from Trump Tower yet, but I got my phone with me, so when it rings, I'll definitely pick it up.
And what position would you want?
Well, just to serve the administration anyway would be an honor. You know, if the president calls and asks you to serve in a role, it's something really hard to say no to.
But he indicated he is interested in EPA, energy, interior, departments that are important for Western states, Washington State in particular. So he told me to keep checking, keep looking for new press releases, which as this transition unfolds and in the hours after the new president was sworn in, we are seeing new press releases, new actions being taken. The president already signing some executive action. So a lot of change that is underway starting tonight and will continue to unfold over the next 100 days. I also have to say I was speaking to Congresswoman Kathy McMorris Rogers, who's also been close to his transition team, and she told me that President Trump has a 200-day plan where we will see some aggressive action taken on some of his immediate goals.
Wasting no time getting to work. Back to you.
All right, Joyce, Natalie, thank you, and we'll see you both again later in our special.
Protesters are still rallying in parts of Seattle tonight.
Let's go now to Allison Morrow, who's walking with some of them. Allison, where are you now?
Oh man, I wish I knew. Actually, I think we're at this point somewhere in between Capitol Hill and the University of Washington. So walking north on 10th Avenue and just crossed Highland Drive. Couple hundred people out here, not exactly sure where we're going. Do you know, Dane, where we're going? This is Dane. He's out here and has been with this group since the Westlake rally, right?
Yes, we're basically here to show that we the people have so much power. We have so much power, and we can hold our elected officials to what we want, then we can achieve that. But we, the people, have to work together, and we'll get there.
Dane, where are we going?
I believe we're heading to UW.
Okay, we do know there is obviously a rally there, so it would make sense that we're going that direction. You were at the Westlake rally where there were fewer people and the tone was a little quieter. It seems like folks, well, right now it's quiet, but it gets a little intense sometimes. What do you think that is? Is that just an anger that's kind of been an undercurrent as this, inauguration has been rolling out and what people feel like today? What are people hoping to get across by expressing that?
I think the biggest thing here that unites all of us is we are against injustices, whether it be we want health care for everybody or Black Lives Matter or various, there's so many different reasons we're all here, but it's our show of unity that we're coming together.
And many reasons, but really one reason, which is President Trump.
Yes, that's kind of the flashpoint, but there's so much other topics that we're trying to fight against.
Dane, thank you very much. We're going to send it back to you for now live somewhere in Seattle. I'm Allison Morrow. Back to you.
All right, Allison, we'll check back in with you. Meantime, protesters clashed with Trump supporters and at times police in our nation's capital.
More than 16 people were injured, 200 people arrested. NBC's Jay Gray describes the scene.
Step back. Step back.
The peaceful transfer of power was not always so peaceful. Pockets of protesters gathered across the city, at times turning violent, starting fires and shattering windows, throwing rocks and other objects at police in full riot gear, backed by the National Guard as they moved in. At times, using tear gas and pepper spray to try and disperse the crowds. Closer to the Capitol, a group locked arms trying to block access to the inauguration. Other protesters shut down highways and streets. At one point, this Trump supporter stopped his car in the middle of a crowd.
It's fine to disagree with policies and issues, but doing it in this fashion on this day is completely un-American and crybaby.
Thousands marched across the city, coming from all directions, carrying different signs, supporting different causes, but all with one clear message.
To really start from day one holding Donald Trump accountable to be the president of all Americans.
Crowds gathered in cities across the country, including New York, San Francisco, Denver, and Houston, and this banner was unfurled on a bridge in London. But D.C. was a flashpoint.
This is the moment, this is the now, and I just feel privileged to be living in this time.
An historic moment celebrated and questioned by hundreds of thousands in our nation's capital.
And the protests are continuing right now, though a bit away from the parade route. Tomorrow there is a women's rally scheduled. 200,000 people or more expected to take part in that demonstration. Jay Gray, NBC News, Washington.
And still to come right here, possibly the most surprising moment of the day, Donald Trump going off script with a message for Hillary Clinton.
And Seattle University political science professor Marco Lowe standing by to give us his insights into this historic day. You're watching the King 5 News special on the inauguration of Donald Trump.
Inauguration 2017. All this weekend. Join Joyce Taylor and Natalie Brand as they bring you unparalleled coverage from Washington, D.C. The inauguration of Donald Trump on King 5 News.